Louisiana versus all y'all. Jared Roser here with another little check-in from LSU fall football camp. It's Monday, August 5th, so a few days into practice for the Tigers. Also the first day we had a chance to hear from some of the players during interview sessions. We had Will Campbell, Greg Penn III, Kyron Lacey, and Jacobian Guillory, so make sure to check out all of those interview sessions, including Will Campbell saying, look, it's time to go win a national championship. It's year 3 for he and a lot of the veterans on this team, Brian Kelly and some other staffers now, and that 10 wins is really cool at a lot of places, but 10 wins can get you fired at LSU, and so it's time to go do something different, take it to the next level, and win a national championship. So really excited to hear that in the early going of camp from one of the top players at his position, not only in the SEC, but in the country. Make sure to check out some of those videos. As far as some of the on-field action, I think biggest takeaways for me were just watching Coach Bo Davis with the defensive line and Brad Davis with the offensive line, and the intensity that they were pushing to their respective position groups, really not taking any amount of slack and pushing guys to go finish reps, rerun reps, all of those things, and that if they weren't going to put forth maximum effort, that they needed to find someplace else to be. You heard Will Campbell after practice talk from his perspective on the offensive line a little bit about the fact that there's an expectation for his position group to certainly be among the leaders on this roster. And so an understanding of the fact that that all happens now. It doesn't start when September hits and you're opening the season against USC. You need to kind of build these things in to a point to where when you get out there on a Saturday or Sunday and go play a game against another team, that everything is just muscle memory at that point. Focusing more on the defensive side is where I spent a little bit more of my time today. You saw Jacobian Guillory and Gio Paez kind of lead the way for a deep defensive tackle rotation that they're hoping kind of comes together and pushes along and gets some reliable play there. Those have been kind of the two leaders. Seen a lot of Sean Washington and Kimo Makanaioli behind them. Another freshman, Dominic McKinley, have seen a lot of in the opening days of practice on the outside. Savion Jones, Deshaun Womack, and Paris Shand have been kind of the leaders of the end group that I've seen. Also seen some good reps from former Sanoma standout Dylan Carpenter, and probably my biggest on-field takeaway today in terms of a player performance was Kolaj Cobbins, the freshman edge rusher from Destrehan High School, who was just torching seemingly everyone that was put in front of him in some second and third team type one-on-one reps. There was one rep where he beat his man, and Bo Davis said, keep running it, keep running. Until they stop you. And so next thing you know, Kolaj is going from side to side and just maybe 4 or 5 times on one extended rep, beating the same offensive lineman, a backup offensive lineman. And so that was really exciting to see for the young man out of Destrehan. Just kind of continuing with what we've seen in terms of the leaders of position groups on defense. Obviously, the linebacker group with Harold Perkins Jr., Greg Penn III, and I have to keep double checking. I mix up the Weeks brothers with the older Weeks brother, also among the leaders in that linebacking group. And the secondary that you hope to see much improvement from last year's performance, it's continued to be Sage Ryan on the outside at one corner, Ashton Stamps on the other corner, a lot of Jordan Gilbert, the Texas A&M transfer, former U-High standout at one safety spot, Jordan Allen, the former Lafayette Christian standout at the other safety spot, and a lot of Major Burns, the former Madison Prep standout, who's now a veteran on this Tigers team, working in kind of a star role. We saw Major, the freshman from JFK, cornerback BB Bernard Causey, as well as Avion Thomas, the standout transfer receiver and return specialist from Mississippi State, former John Ehret star. Those 3 guys all kind of working on the side at different points. Doesn't seem to be anything major, but no pun intended with Major Burns being a part of that, but hope to see them back, in full action and everything for the extent of practice here in the next couple of days. But in the meantime, you saw Jawan Johnson get some more opportunities at that star spot, the freshman, star quarterback from Lafayette Christian, who's a defensive back at this level. And so you end up with, on one side of the field at one point, Jawan Johnson, Jordan Allen, and Sage Ryan, the former LCA trio of standouts. I think the biggest defensive highlight I saw during the course of the day during, a team segment of of action between the offense and defense was Ashton Stamps coming away with an end zone interception on a play where Deshaun Womack got some nice rush off the edge, brought some pressure, and then Stamps comes away with the interception. So good to see those two guys that will be expected to be critical playmakers for this team this fall, stepping up early on in camp. And, the defense continues to make plays, which is just encouraging after the way last year went. A lot of talk from all those guys, from the coaching staff on down to the players, about just the amount of effort and enthusiasm under Blake Baker and, some of these new coaches now in Baton Rouge, or in several cases back in Baton Rouge. And so that's encouraging, with as many eyes and spotlight and microscope and whatnot will be on the defense throughout this season. On the offensive side of the ball, you heard Kyron Lacey and Will Campbell and others talk about the fact that this offense will look differently with Garrett Nussmeier at the helm instead of Jaden Daniels, the Heisman winner from a year ago. It will be a little bit of a different identity, but it will be still tremendously potent, that there's a lot of trust in Nussmeier to go out there and run the offense. We've seen a lot early on in camp of the run game, and today a lot of screen action. It sounds like you should expect to see a lot of quick screens to guys like Aaron Anderson and Xavier Thomas and Chris Hilton Jr. and company, utilizing some of that speed that they have to the outside. We saw a lot of that in terms of the quick short passing game. We did see at least one big pass deep to Chris Hilton Jr. on a nice diving play down the field, and I thought one of the top performers to me on the offensive side of the ball was the young tight end Kamarion Pimpton, who had a couple of nice catches to different levels of the field in one-on-one and in team action. And so that tight end group that we obviously know what Mason Taylor brings, to expect some things from Mac Markway, and from the freshmen. The early returns in camp have been good. Tradez Green out of Zachary High, right up the road. But Kamarion Pimpton was great, and you just continue to see the depth of that tight end group that Will Campbell, the former Neville star, who's a lifelong Tigers fan, says this is the deepest tight end group he thinks that LSU's had in his lifetime, even from growing up as a little kid watching from Monroe. There were points today where I'm watching some nice reps from Giovanni Peterson and Gabe Leonard, the former walk-ons from Colorado, and Gabe from right down the road in Crowley, Louisiana at Notre Dame, and seeing, wait, there's another tight end stepping up. Let me go ahead and make a note of that jersey number and stuff like that. And so just an awful lot of depth at that position group, and should be fun to watch, to expect to see, not just two, not just three, but several guys involved from the tight end room during the course of this season. I think that covers a lot of my biggest takeaways from today. Same as last time. If there's any position group, player aspect of the team or anything early on in camp that you want to hear a little bit more about, feel free to comment below. I'll try and, check out comments and answer any other questions that you guys may have. Otherwise, I'm going to keep trying to put out these little videos, just some of the things that pop to mind coming out of these camp days. Thanks again for watching. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button, kind of keep supporting some of what we're doing here, trying to cover Louisiana sports at every level. And thanks again for y'all's time. Until next time, Jared Rose, Louisiana versus all y'all.